Have you ever met someone who seems to notice everything? They walk into a room and catch small details that everyone else misses. That's Sherlock Holmes. But here's the real secret: he wasn't born with a special brain. He trained his mind to think in a certain way, and that's what this book, Mastermind, is all about: learning to think like Holmes in real life. Maria Konnikova shows us that clear thinking is not luck or talent. It's a skill anyone can build with the right habits. Holmes had a system, a way of slowing down, observing, and analyzing before jumping to conclusions. This book takes us inside that system step by step. So stay with me till the end, because by the time we finish, you'll start seeing the world the way Holmes does: sharper, calmer, and more aware. And if you enjoy learning how to think better, hit subscribe. It helps the channel grow and keeps you updated with new book summaries every week. Chapter 1: The Scientific Method of the Mind. Have you ever jumped to a conclusion only to realize you missed something obvious? Sherlock Holmes never makes that mistake, but how does he do it? In this chapter, we uncover the secret behind his almost supernatural observation skills, and it might change how you think forever. Holmes's mind works like a scientist. Every observation is like an experiment. He doesn't guess. He notices, questions, and tests before deciding. Maria Konnikova compares Holmes with Dr. Watson. Watson reacts to what he sees. Holmes studies it. Watson assumes. Holmes investigates. The real power comes from pausing before acting. Holmes notices what others miss sometimes. It is the absence of something. For example, a dog not barking revealed the truth no one else saw. Our brains are lazy. We often defend our first thought. Holmes teaches the opposite. Slow down, observe, analyze, and question everything. The lesson is simple but life-changing. Next time you face a decision, step back. Treat your mind like a detective. Check every detail before concluding. But Holmes's mind is not just about observing. There's a system for storing and organizing all this information, so nothing gets lost and every clue becomes useful. In the next chapter, we will explore the brain attic, the hidden mental storage that makes Holmes's thinking so powerful. Chapter 2: The Brain Attic. Imagine your mind as a giant attic filled with everything you've ever seen, heard, or learned. Now imagine trying to find one important clue in that cluttered space. How does Sherlock Holmes do it so effortlessly? This chapter reveals the secret of organizing the mind for genius-level thinking. Konnikova calls this mental storage system the brain attic. Holmes keeps his mind tidy. He only stores what is useful, discarding unnecessary information. Most of us, in contrast, are hoarders. We fill our minds with trivia, worries, and irrelevant facts, which makes finding real insight almost impossible. Holmes also connects pieces carefully. Every observation isn't isolated. It links to previous knowledge like a well-organized library. Konnikova explains that building your own brain attic takes practice. Be selective about what you focus on. Revisit and reinforce important knowledge regularly. Make mental connections, not just collect random facts. This system allows Holmes to notice patterns instantly and solve complex problems that would overwhelm anyone else. The brain attic is only part of the story. Observing and storing information is one thing, but knowing how to explore it creatively is what turns ordinary thinking into true genius. In the next chapter, we will dive into stocking the brain attic, how Holmes fills his mind with useful knowledge and trains it to be sharp at all times. Chapter 3: Stocking the Brain Attic. How do you make your mind sharper than everyone else's? It's not about memorizing random facts or cramming your brain with useless information. Holmes has a method for keeping only what truly matters, and it starts here. This chapter is all about stocking your brain attic with useful knowledge. Holmes chooses what he learns carefully. Every piece of information is like a tool he might need later. Konnikova explains that most people overload their minds. They remember everything, even irrelevant things, which makes thinking slower and clouded. Holmes does the opposite. He stores knowledge selectively and organizes it so it is easy to retrieve. She also emphasizes active learning, not just reading or observing, but connecting new information to what you already know. That's how Holmes builds mental patterns that allow him to solve complex problems quickly. Small, consistent habits of learning and observation can transform your thinking over time. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be deliberate. Choosing what to store is just the first step. The next challenge is knowing how to explore and retrieve that knowledge whenever you need it. In the next chapter, we will learn how Holmes explores his brain attic to find the exact piece of information that solves the puzzle. Chapter 4: Exploring the brain attic. You have knowledge stored in your mind, but can you find what you need when it counts? Holmes can pull a crucial fact from the depths of his brain attic at just the right moment. This chapter explains how he does it and how you can too. Exploring the brain attic is about mental retrieval and pattern recognition. Holmes doesn't just store information. He organizes it so that connections appear naturally. Konnikova explains that most people struggle because their mental attics are cluttered. They remember bits and pieces but cannot see how they fit together. Holmes, however, practices active searching. When faced with a problem, he systematically recalls past observations, experiments, and experiences, linking them to the current situation. This method allows him to notice patterns that others miss, turning ordinary observations into powerful insights. She also shows that you can train this skill. Reflection, questioning your assumptions, and deliberate practice help your mind retrieve knowledge efficiently. Storing and retrieving information is powerful, but observation itself is the foundation of Holmes's method. How do you see more than others? How do you notice what everyone else overlooks? The next chapter reveals the methods of Holmes and Watson in seeing the world differently. Chapter 5: The methods of Holmes and Watson. Why is Holmes so extraordinary while Watson is ordinary? They both observe the same world. The answer lies not in intelligence, but in methods. This chapter uncovers the mental habits that separate a master thinker from everyone else. Konnikova compares Holmes and Watson's approach. Watson sees but doesn't observe. He reacts emotionally and jumps to conclusions. Holmes, on the other hand, has a method. Pause and observe carefully. Ask deliberate questions. Connect observations to knowledge in the brain attic. Test hypotheses before concluding. Holmes treats the world as a set of puzzles. He practices mindful observation, paying attention to details that others overlook. Even mundane objects or small gestures can reveal critical insights. The chapter emphasizes that these methods are learnable. You don't need to be a detective, you just need to practice disciplined observation and structured thinking. Observation is not just about what you see, but how you interpret it. Holmes also trains his imagination to explore possibilities beyond the obvious. In the next chapter, we will learn about seeing and observing deeply, which takes Holmes's thinking to a completely new level. Chapter 6: On seeing and observing. Most people think they see clearly, but they often miss the obvious. Holmes sees things others do not. What is the secret behind his extraordinary observation skills? Holmes trains himself to truly observe. Observation is more than just looking. It is noticing patterns, details, and discrepancies. Konnikova explains that ordinary people filter information unconsciously. They see only what confirms their beliefs or what seems important. Holmes, however, suspends judgment and observes without bias. She gives examples from detective stories where tiny details, a mark on a shoe, a smudge on a letter, reveal crucial insights. Holmes combines these observations with his organized brain attic, connecting seemingly unrelated facts into a clear picture. Anyone can practice this. Slow down, pay attention to details, and question your first impressions. Observation is a skill, not a talent. Seeing is important, but it's not enough. the mind also needs creativity and imagination to connect clues in unexpected ways. Next, we explore the power of imagination, which transforms observations into insight. Chapter 7, The Power of Imagination. Holmes doesn't just notice facts, he imagines possibilities that others never consider. How does imagination make him a master problem solver? Konnikova shows that imagination is what turns observation into actionable insight. Holmes visualizes scenarios, plays them out mentally, and considers multiple explanations for what he observes. Imagination is structured, not random. Holmes uses it as a tool to test hypotheses and predict outcomes. She also explains that most people underutilize imagination in thinking. We either let our minds wander aimlessly or limit ourselves to what is obvious. Holmes's imagination works with evidence, guiding him to conclusions that seem impossible but are logically sound. The lesson is clear: combine observation with imaginative thinking to see solutions that others cannot. Observation, memory, and imagination are powerful, but there is one final step that makes Holmes extraordinary: the ability to integrate everything into a clear, actionable thought. The last chapter explains how to bring it all together in your own mind. Chapter 8, Beyond the Brain Attic. All the skills Holmes has learned, observation, memory, imagination, come together in one final step. This chapter shows how to make your thinking not just good, but extraordinary. Konnikova explains that thinking like Holmes is about integration. It is the ability to combine all your stored knowledge, observations, and imaginative scenarios into a coherent understanding. Holmes evaluates evidence, considers alternative explanations, and constantly questions himself. He treats every problem as a puzzle, and his mind is ready to solve it. This chapter also emphasizes deliberate practice. Genius is not innate. It is cultivated through repeated, focused effort in observing, storing, exploring, and imagining. The message is simple but powerful. Anyone can train their mind to be sharper and more insightful by adopting Holmes's methods step by step. The story of Holmes is a metaphor for all of us. The final question is, are you ready to take your mind seriously and start thinking like a master? Your journey doesn't end with this book, it starts here. Final Thoughts. Mastermind teaches us that extraordinary thinking is learnable, not magical. Pause before you react, observe, carefully organize your mind like a brain attic, use imagination to connect the dots. Integrate everything into actionable insight. This is more than a book about Sherlock Holmes. It's a blueprint for better thinking, better decisions, and a sharper mind. If you apply even a few of these strategies, you will notice how differently you see the world. Comment below which method you will start using today, and don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing book summaries every day.